Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer. The DRF race of the day for Saturday, September the 12th is the first leg of Canada's Triple Crown. Let's throw up the field for the historic Queen's Plate. We're going 1.25 miles on the Tapeta surface. $1 million is the purse for 3-year-olds foaled in Canada. And Mike, I got to be honest with you. I think this is one of the better plate fields we've seen in recent years. Some horses with really fast buyer speed figures, some of the better fillies in Canada, some of the better colts. I don't think there are any one-hit wonders in here. I think the winner of the Queen's Plate might turn out to be a horse we'll be hearing a lot from down the road.
Well, yeah, I don't disagree that not only is there a lot of talent in the field, and there is a lot of talent, it's just one of those, I feel like, very well-matched Queen's Plate fields too. And I have, there are a couple of shorter prices on the morning line, and they deserve to be shorter prices, but they do not stand out in this field. This is a fairly wide open race.
And I'm with you. It's a well-matched field. We'll look for some value. We'll look for some pace as well. Timeform US believes the pace will be fast, and I do agree that Clayton, the 12, is going to be up close to the pace. I think the goal for Clayton, breaking outside of the 4, long shot True Believe, is this. Let True Believe go. If the 14 really wants it, let the 14 go and tuck in third. But something tells me that they got the right 3 horses, Timeform US, and the pace should be solid to fast. But I think it'll be True Believe going into the first turn with the lead, with Clayton not far behind.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we'll see how the 12 and the 14 wind up playing it here. They are drawn outside, so maybe they have to come out of there running for position. And that could lead to a fast pace, and maybe they'll just go on with it to cut the pace as well. But I don't know. Neither one of them's ever been on the lead in any of one of their races in the past. So I don't know if they have to go to the front. We'll just see how fast they have to go to get to the position they want.
A horse that really would want a fast pace is last on our Timeform US pace projector, the number 1 Chicklet Sweepin' Hard, who benefited from a fast pace to win his maiden in his second lifetime start. We'll watch that race right now, and let's give this horse some credit. Start number 2, stretching all the way out from 6.5 to 1.1 miles. He was in behind horses. He's the number 3 getting into the clear right now. And once he's in the clear and once he changes leads, he finishes this race off. The 7th place finisher coming back to graduate in his next start with a 70 buyer. From a buyer standpoint, he's in real light. He's up against it from a class standpoint, first time against winners, but he might get the right setup.
I guess the distance is what he really wanted for his second career start, because he did take a step forward. He still looks every bit of 50-1 to me in this race.
The number 2 is Mervillu, one of several fillies in this race coming out of the Woodbine Oaks. And I thought that Mervillu, along with the winner, Curlin's Voyage, got a brilliant ride in that race. Mervillu was near the back of the pack behind a fast pace, and Rafael Hernandez, who was aboard her that day, just followed Patrick Husbands and Courage as long as he could. Curlin's Voyage just had a little bit more oomph on the turn and a little bit more acceleration, and that kind of put Mervillu in a little bit tight in mid-stretch, but she was running on late, galloped out well, a promising first start with blinkers with a much improved buyer speed figure. I think the 1.25 miles is well within her scope. I think this pace works for her, and I like her. I think she's rounding back into form in her 4th start of the form cycle. I think we'll see a good effort from her.
Yeah, I don't really have anything to add to that. I thought she ran well last time, and you're right. They just tried to follow the favorite and the horse to beat in there, and it didn't quite work. It almost worked out for them, but it didn't quite work out for them. And she finished a good 3rd overall. I have no knocks on this horse. I think she'll be a very fair price in this race. And I, like you, I think the distance is fine for her.
Belichick's a maiden, but his distance, no problem whatsoever. By Lemon Drop Kid out of a Monjou mare. Second last time out on the Tapeta in a maiden race. Maybe moved a little bit early into that fast pace. The beaten favorite that day. Heck, he's been the beaten favorite in both lifetime starts. They've thought a lot about this horse. I think there's something here. I wonder if this is too much too soon.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how it all plays out. Obviously, they have high hopes for him, and so they're just going to throw him right into the Queen's Plate. I'm sure that they would have rather come here with a win under their belt already, but they didn't get one. He ran fine last time. He's going to have to take a big step forward here.
I have distance class questions. I have class questions. I have pace questions with the 4 True Believe, who was beaten almost 15 lengths by Clayton back on July the 18th and is going to have to turn it around against those horses. I'm just not sure this horse is a 1.25 mile horse, especially if he's setting fast fractions.
Yeah, there's just a lot working against True Believe in this race, and I think they will try and go forward with him. Whether he's on the lead or not, I don't know, but I think they'll try to get there, and we'll just see how it works out. So far, Danny just hasn't run a race that's going to beat this field.
Number 5, Holyfield, graduated in start number 6 for Catherine Day Phillips in this race on the turf. They finally got him back on the turf, and he ran really well to get it done. We're going to see Holyfield in here on the outside in the white silks, 4 deep, just surge to the front. This is more of a workmanlike victory than anything else, and he has to prove that he's the real deal on synthetic.
He does have to prove that he's the real deal. Another horse in here who's going to have to take a step forward. What I like about him is that he just stays at the end of his races. Even the races 2 and 3 back on synthetic, he never looked like he was going to win either time, but he also didn't look like he was even going to be close at the end, but he just stayed until the end. So I think the 1.25 miles will actually help this horse. I just don't know if he's good enough to beat this field.
I think Halo again's a sleeper here for Steve Asmussen. This is a son of Speightstown, who was a 9-furlong stakes winner as a 2-year-old at Woodbine, winning the Coronation Futurity from off the pace. Now, last time out in the plate trial, that was a race with no pace, and he was stretching out in his second start of the form cycle, so he was up close, and he was no match for Clayton in the lane. I think Asmussen's going to have him tighter, third start off the layoff. It's all about the distance, but I think Luis Contreras will have him in a good spot in mid-pack, and I'm expecting an improved performance.
Yeah, he's a good horse, and I do think he'll get a good trip in this race. I'm a little concerned about the distance for him. We'll see if he handles the 1.25 miles. If he gets the 1.25 miles, he's one of the major players in here.
I'm a little concerned about Glorious Tribute because in the plate trial, he was within range turning into the stretch, and he couldn't step with the likes of Clayton and Halo again and Dotted Line. And I wonder if that race exposed him just a little bit.
I feel the same way about him. They've tried him in stakes races his last 4 times, and he really just hasn't been competitive, Dan. I don't know if he's good enough to beat this field.
Let's watch Ali, My Boys Maiden Win on August the 1st. Now, this race featured a fast pace. We see Ali, My Boy on the outside in the yellow, and this is a very professional, solid rally where he just runs by these horses and he extends the final 150 yards. Now, the buyer came back a little bit light, 68, but this horse is so lightly raced that I don't see any reason why he can't improve. And the third place horse out of this race came back to earn an 80 buyer in his very next start at Kentucky Downs.
Yeah, we'll see if he can take the step forward that he needs to take. I think he might be able to do it. His 2 races since they've stretched him out in distance, he ran well in both of those races. I thought he really finished at the end of each of those starts. And that last one, we only showed you the final 3/16 or so, but I mean, he started that run all the way back on the far turn. I mean, he made a big wide run from a long way out, and he kept going to the end. I think this horse is a little underrated.
All about trip for horses like this, whether he's going to have to go 7 wide or whether he's going to have to deal with traffic because he's a true one-run closer. But there's no doubt that ever since he's come up here for Cititard, he's been running at the end of his races, and I would expect him to be running at a price at the end of the Queen's Plate. Dotted Line was 3rd in the plate trial last time out. Again, set a moderate pace, prompted by Halo again. No match for Clayton in the lane. It appears he's slightly improving from a buyer speed figure standpoint. He was a 2-turn stakes winner as a 2-year-old. I have questions about the 1.25 miles for him.
Yeah, I mean, I do too. I guess though, Dan, if we're going to sit here and, we already talked about Halo again, and we both think he's a major player. I mean, why isn't this horse, just about as tough as that horse? They got basically the same trip last time, and they finished a head apart in that race. This horse did not run poorly last time.
Curlin's Voyage, in my opinion, and in many folks' opinions, the best 3-year-old filly in Canada. Let's watch her Woodbine Oaks race. What a ride from the veteran Patrick Husbands. We see her in front. She was at the back of the pack behind a fast pace. Husbands was able to split horses a half mile out, saved ground every step, came up the rail. Here's what I don't like. At the end of this race, she is drifting out considerably at 1 1/8 miles. She got it done. She got the right setup. She got the right trip. Now she's got to go another 1/8 of a mile with no guarantee of the other 2.
Yeah, and against better horses too. So there are things to worry about with her if she's going to be one of the favorites. On the other hand, she probably deserves to be one of the favorites. I mean, she's just she's just been really good right from the start. The amazing thing about her last race to me, Dan, is how Patrick Husbands managed not to get stopped at any point in that race, in and among horses from the backstretch all the way through the turn and then into the upper stretch. And she never got stopped. Once she came clear, she did the rest. She's super talented. I think she's a major player in here. We'll see what kind of price she is.
The 11 FF Rocket is a son of Curlin that sold for $525,000 as a yearling. And after his first 3 starts, you were ready to chalk it up as a disappointment. Now, maybe, just maybe, he figured it out last time out switching to synthetic. He went over the Tapeta at Presque Isle Downs, or maybe, just maybe, he found a field he could beat.
The figure he got for that race suggests the latter. It doesn't really suggest that he improved. It just suggests that he found the right field. They're going to take a shot in here. They paid a lot of money for this horse. I guess you got to try to get it back. It'll be a huge price.
Clayton is your morning line favorite. He's won 3 of 4, including the plate trial at 1 1/8. This race that we're going to watch right now with an 89 buyer. He stayed up close to the slow pace 3 wide. He was a little bit keen in the early portion of this race, and going 1 1/4, I'd like to see him settle down, and I'd also like to see him actually change leads in the Queen's Plate, because if he's going to go 1 1/4 on his left lead all the way around, it could leave him open to being a little bit vulnerable.
Yeah, that's true. He didn't change leads last time. He wore that field down at the end. The good news for him is that he had changed leads at his prior 2 starts. So it hasn't been a constant thing for him. We'll see what he does here, Dan. There's really no way to knock him. He's run well in all of his starts, even the only loss off the layoff in June. He got shuffled back on the turn and still almost overcame it to win. This is a really, really good horse.
Mighty Heart came back from the fairgrounds with a really nice-looking win, going 2 turns to break his maiden. And I thought he and Tecumseh's War, the 14, both ran well in this race. Let's watch Tecumseh's War on August the 1st. He's going to run second, dropping down to the inside. There was a big pace on in here. Tecumseh's War is the number 3. He dropped down to the inside. He's able to make the lead, and maybe just being close to that fast pace worked against him. Mighty Heart, we see the 4. He's on his left lead. He was close to the pace as well. I think they both ran well. I think Tecumseh's War ran better. Got a really nice ride from Emma J. Wilson once he got into the clear.
No, that's true. I mean, when I watched that race back, and I do think they both ran fine. Tecumseh's War was the one who just, stayed on the rail, right in behind the lead the entire way, and then got through. And Mighty Heart was always on the outside, 3 or 4 wide, all the way around the track. I got a little tired at the end of that race. I thought they both ran fine, Dan, but I also feel like they both have to improve to contend here.
I agree. It's the Queen's Plate. There are some strong favorites in here, but it is also a fairly competitive group. We're looking for prices. Let's throw up our top picks. For the first jewel of Canada's Triple Crown, Mike's going with Ali My Boy. We saw his strong late kick to win his maiden. This horse is, 30-1 on the morning line. Ali My Boy's your top pick. I'm going to go with the filly, but not the filly a lot of folks are thinking of. I'm going to go with Mervillu, who I think is going to really appreciate the pace and the distance.
Yeah, I'm hoping my horse appreciates the pace and the distance as well, Dan. He's really improved since they stretched him out. He needs a trip in this race. He's got to take a step forward, but he should have pace, and I like the way he's finished up in his 2 starts. I got the favorite 2nd and 3rd.
8-10-12-6 for Mike, 2-10-12-6 for me. The Saturday race of the day. Get those 3 Formulator Pass performances on the Race of the Day event page at DRF.com. It's the Queen's Plate, approximate post time, 5:41 Eastern. Best of luck.